The basic idea of biological evolution is that populations and species of organisms change over time.
Today, when we think of evolution, we are likely to link this idea with one specific person, the British naturalist Charles Darwin. Darwin's seminal book, On the Origin of Species, set forth his ideas about evolution and natural selection.
These ideas were largely based on direct observations from Darwin's travels around the globe. From 1831 to 1836, he was part of a survey expedition carried out by the ship HMS Beagle, which included stops in South America, Australia, and the southern tip of Africa. At each of the expedition stops, Darwin had the opportunity to study and catalogue the local plants and animals. Darwin found that nearby islands in the Galapagos had similar but non-identical species of finches living on them. Moreover, he noted that each finch species was well suited for its environment and role. For instance, species that ate large seeds tended to have large, tough beaks, while those that ate insects had thin, sharp beaks.
Finally, he observed that the finches found on the Galapagos Islands were similar to species on the nearby mainland of Ecuador, but different from those found elsewhere in the world.
Darwin didn't figure all of this out on his trip.
In fact, he didn't even realize all the finches were related but distinct species until he showed his specimens to a skilled ornithologist years later.
Darwin proposed that species can change over time, that new species come from pre-existing species, and that all species share a common ancestor. In this model, each species has its own unique set of heritable differences from the common ancestor, which have accumulated gradually over a very long time. Repeated branching events, in which new species split off from a common ancestor, produce a multi-level tree that links all living organisms, and how this process can repeat multiple times in the family tree of a group of related species. Darwin also proposed a mechanism for evolution, natural selection. This mechanism was elegant and logical, and it explained how populations could evolve, undergo descent with modification in such a way that they became better suited to their environments over time. Traits are often heritable. In living organisms, many characteristics are inherited, or passed from parent to offspring. Darwin knew this was the case, even though he did not know that traits were inherited via genes. More offspring are produced than can survive. Organisms are capable of producing more offspring than their environments can support. Thus, there is competition for limited resources in each generation.
Offspring vary in their heritable traits. The offspring in any generation will be slightly different from one another in their traits, color, size, shape, etc., and many of these features will be heritable. Natural selection doesn't favor traits that are somehow inherently superior. Instead, it favors traits that are beneficial in a specific environment.
Traits that are helpful in one environment might actually be harmful in another. Based on various lines of evidence, scientists think that this type of process has repeated many times during the history of life on Earth. Evolution by natural selection and other mechanisms underlies the incredible diversity of present-day life forms, and the action of natural selection can explain the fit between present-day organisms and their environments.